You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. Today, my guest is Josh East. Though Josh has an extensive background in the music industry, he's also a collector of ancient relics and has acquired some very interesting and rare objects. One is called the Dropa Stones. We'll be talking about those. And he has several other interesting things that he will be talking about in relation to the spiritual aspect. So let's find out more about Josh now and about these antiques that come from ancient past. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Maybe you could give me, let's start out with a little background about, your life and how you happen to, come across these various objects and what they are.
Well, let's see here. As you mentioned, my background is heavily involved in the music industry. I started getting into more of the conscious realm probably during the music digital age, which was around 2000. And that's when the music industry in itself really was struggling with illegal downloads, and more like 2001, 2002 was where it really heightened, and my business really took a hit at that time, which we specifically concentrated on marketing and promotions from anyone from from Eminem to Snoop Dogg to Maya to Kirk Franklin. It's all over the board, even into more eclectic music like Ozone Motley. And once the whole digital age shift occurred in the music industry, the budget was just pretty much dwindled, and we ended up taking a hit with regards to our services and our whole entire business model in general. And what happened from there was we ended up going into more of a strategic pattern, and wanted to concentrate more so on the independent artist and label community instead of the major labels. So what that ended up doing was it probably took about a good 2 years for us to get involved in that whole aspect of this new business model. But in that time frame, we ended up going into a lot of meetings that seemed as if it was just more so directing into the conscious realm of alternative knowledge, and that's kind of where we spun off and really wanted to concentrate more so on seeing how we could concentrate more on conscious music more than I guess non-conscious music, with respects to having a more positive lyrical content, educating, keywords and phrases within the lyrical songs themselves, and that really got us into research projects. And from there, I mean, personally, and I could speak from a handful of our team through the company Music One, we really started to experience some guidance within these topics, and it really concentrated portrayed anywhere from ancient, scientific to, forbidden knowledge as what we called it. And on a personal note, that's when I really started getting some contacts within the field of I guess what the mainstream is calling, the new age community. And at the time, this was probably 2003 when I started connecting with a Mayan timekeeper in Los Angeles, and also a shaman from Ecuador that were all out here in LA. And we decided to get Red Elk out here in LA to speak on his experiences and his knowledge with respects to health and the Bible, and of course one of his number one topics, which is more so the underworld, entities or whatnot.
Oh.
And that was pretty exciting, and that whole thing really spiraled into getting into contacts within the Crystal Skull community. And that's where I got in contact with who's a good friend of mine in China. He does not want me to say his name, but he was the one who found the 13 crystal skulls in the Himalayan Valley range.
Wow.
And this gentleman also found a few discs that were buried within the crystal skulls.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
So that's the short version of the background. So that really got me into more interesting things of the ancient relics and whatnot. So essentially, all in all, my contact out in China did come on a tour out here in the U.S. with the skulls, and that's when he realized that the skulls needed to be distributed worldwide and used for the sole purpose of reconnecting certain energy grids around the world and being able to activate them on a world consciousness.
Wow. Now, so you were introduced to the skulls. I mean, you were able to look at them and touch them and experience them for yourself?
Only a handful.
Only a handful.
At that time, there was distribution going on and whatnot.
Now, what did he say? Was he getting information directly from the skulls? Because many people claim that they speak telepathically to the person who owns the skull.
Yeah, I personally haven't had a relationship with one myself, but he himself, yeah, absolutely. He was definitely guided to locate the 13, and if you go onto the MySpace page, which is /Dropa DROPA DISKS, so that's myspace.com /Dropa DROPA DISKS. This was just a page that we built to actually throw some of the relics up here, and one of them is a picture of the 13 crystal skulls that were found. And if you really look closely, each one was carved differently, and from the bone structure, I would say, in the jaw lines and the nose and the cheekbones and whatnot, and even the foreheads. I mean, there's elongated ones and there's fatter ones, and it seemed as if each one was from a different culture or a different species. It was pretty interesting. If we talk about the 12 tribes, I mean, that could almost be where some want to say that the 12 tribes are also connected to the universe. So it was an interesting find, and he did find a few discs, and I kind of want to correct you with respect to in the beginning of the show when you said something about the Dropa discs. I'm personally not too fond of the story that has been surfaced throughout the internet. There was a author by the name of Dr. Carl Robin Evans, and he is part of the storyline, right? The original story of the Dropa disc, which, in short, for those who do not know about the story, I'm going to give you a real short version here.
As long as it takes. I mean, it's fascinating.
I'm thinking to get back on the right subject.
Right.
How the story goes was there was a professor who was on an archaeological dig, and I think from where the story goes, it was somewhere around 1930s or somewhere around there, right?
Okay.
And this guy found, I should say, claimed to find skeleton remains, right? And supposedly of apes. And basically, there was another professor says that whoever heard of apes burying each other, and so that started into this professor that actually quoted that, going back to where the skeleton remains were found, and he actually ended up finding these large round stone discs, which looked like Stone Age, gramophone records, and they had a hole in the center, and they had to find grooves, and some of them, I guess, were spiraling out from the center of the rim, right? And supposedly they were.
Yeah, I'm looking at your MySpace page now, and it's bringing up the various some examples of the discs and some ancient cave paintings. It looks like. So
yeah, there was a lot. It's interesting. That cave painting ended up being an actual artwork for a cover story of this exact story. And even though that there was like certain cave drawings in the Uzbekistan, certain caves or whatnot, what ended up happening was this story, wherever it originated from, ended up circulating publications from 1960, and supposedly there was a Russian Digest article titled "Were Alien Visitors on Earth?"
Okay.
And this started circulating in 1960. I have not yet found any reference to this Russian Digest, but in 1962. There was a German publication called, and this is in English obviously, but it was The Vegetarian Universe, and the title of that article was UFOs in Prehistory. And in 64 was another article in Germany, and then the Los Angeles Times actually had an article about it in 1967 called Riddle of Asian Stone Disc from Outer Space. And the most famous one was in 68, which was from the Sputnik magazine out in Russia, titled Stone Age Gramophone Records.
Oh my goodness. How appropriate
Exactly. It was just kind of like cool titles, right? And how appropriate. Exactly.
Now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. Today, my guest is Josh East. Though Josh has an extensive background in the music industry, he's also a collector of ancient relics and has acquired some very interesting and rare objects. One is called the Dropa Stones. We'll be talking about those. And he has several other interesting things that he will be talking about in relation to the spiritual aspect. These various objects and what they are.
Well, let's see here. As you mentioned, my background is heavily involved in the music industry. I started getting into more of the conscious realm probably during the...
So let's find out more about Josh now and about these antiques that come from ancient past. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Maybe you could give me, let's start out with a little background about, your life and how you happen to, come across.
You are tuned in to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now